Hello, I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. I am just going to give everyone a few minutes to find me on Facebook and actually make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be on my computer. And then we'll get started. Let's see. That is not where I want to be. I love Facebook. It has so many options for the same thing, and they're all different, and you have to get the right one. So, I think I'm getting there. Yes, so now I will be able to see comments, so that's perfect. Okay, so welcome to a Facebook Live with CJ Card Creations. My name is Christy Hillock, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I really appreciate you being here tonight. I have kind of a fun little project to share. It's a gift card holder, and so we'll make this here in just a minute. First, I wanted to thank Susan for sharing last week. You get a pack of the Elegant Faceted Gems, which are beautiful. They come in clear, pearl, and this kind of changes with what the background is color, and it's gorgeous. It works with a lot of different things. So I hope you enjoyed those. Hey Janie, hey Susan, glad to see you both. All right, let's see what else. I talked a little bit last week about the new, actually I don't even know what day it is anymore. I think I talked last week about the new paper pumpkin kit that's coming in September. It's called Haunts and Harvests. It makes trait boxes. They're super cute. They can either be fall, like apples and pumpkins, or Halloween, like jack-o'-lanterns, which is really nice. So definitely one to sign up for, especially if you've got kids in your life that you like to give little treats to. I think this will be great. So that's that one. There's a link in the description of the video that you can click to sign up for Paper Pumpkin if you're not already a subscriber. There's also a link to join my team, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And a link with a host code if you need any supplies, especially if anything tonight inspires you. I hope you will shop at my online store and use that host code if your order is under $150. Right now, it really pays during celebration to make sure that your order is in increments of $50, because then you get free items from the special celebration catalog, and that is going on now through September 30th, so don't miss those items. This paper that we're going to use tonight is actually one of the freebies, and I've used it a ton if you haven't already seen. So all right, so what I'm going to do is just move these things aside so that I can get to my designer series paper here. Now this piece is cut down right now to 9.5 by 10.5, and I'm actually going to need the arm on my trimmer for the first part. So this is the 9.5 inch side, and this is your 10.5 inch side. So what you'll do first is take the short side, so this 9.5 inch, and line it up with the 8 inch mark here. And then we'll just cut off this strip. So this I'm going to set aside because I will need it in just a little bit. Now I'm going to take what's left, which is now 8 by 10.5, and I'm going to score the short side, the 8 inch side, at 4 inches. So basically just score it in half. And then anytime you're using this Stampin' Trimmer with this scoring tool, you don't want to push too hard if it's designer series paper, because you will rip right through it. Cardstock takes a little more pressure. And now I'm going to turn this to the 10.5 inch side, and I want to bring it down to the 5.25 inch mark. Right there, and I'm just going to score that. So that basically what has done, and it's kind of hard to see on this paper, but I've got score lines halfway on each direction. So now the next thing that I want to do is trying to decide which side I want up, and I think I'm going to go with the flowers being up. So I'm going to cut out this top left panel. And for that, I can get this arm out of the way. I don't know how, I'm just barely getting started and I'm already out of space, but that just seems to be the way this goes. So I'm going to make sure my scoring tool is out of the way, and I'm actually going to rotate this way so that I can see, there's a ruler right here, which is really helpful. So back to this, back to that 4-inch mark, and I'm going to bring my scoring tool up, or sorry, my cutting blade up to the top. And now I'm going to score down to the 5 1/4 inch mark. Okay. And now I am going to rotate this and line that score line up with the gutter again. Bring this up to the 4-inch mark on the flap part of my trimmer and just cut one more time. So now what you'll see, I just can't pick it up. Okay, so I now have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel that I can use as a layer on another card, which is handy. But this is what I'm actually going to be working with tonight. So this is a great place to take a screenshot if this is something that you want to make more of, because you can see the template. So what I will do is fold along these score lines now. And I am just going to burnish those lines just to make sure that everything stays really crisp. So I've folded the single flap in, and now I'm just going to come from this point down so that the top corner meets the other side. So I'll get this nice triangular shape and score that. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring this line down. And for some reason it's not quite where I want it to be. So I am just going to sort of force it where I want it and burnish that way. Let's see. There we go. All right, so I'll just kind of pull over this. Sometimes that works better than others, but I think we'll be okay like that. All right, so now I'll fold that top flap back out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my tear and tape adhesive. Liquid glue is great for this too, but I just was feeling a little more in favor of my tear and tape tonight. So I'm going to just secure this flap down. And this just allows us to see both sides of the designer series paper on the inside of the card, which is fun because both sides are always gorgeous. It's so hard to decide which side to use sometimes. So, and again, I'm using the beautifully pinned designer series paper tonight, which is a free with $50 purchase item. Oh, now here is the downside of tear and tape. If you stick it down where you didn't want to, it's not coming off. Okay, so line that back up, seal that. Now I'm going to open this flap and just do the same. Put a little tear and tape on here. All right. And you don't want to go across this diagonal because that is where the pocket opening is. I think I mentioned this is a gift card holder. If I didn't, that's what we're doing. So it's kind of been a week over here. We started Jonah back to school, which is great. I'm so glad, and he seems much happier now too. But it also is requiring us to be certain places at more times in the day, which I'm used to kind of just usually scheduling one thing a day. So it's been a trick, especially since they're doing early out this week. I guess to ease them into school, I don't know. But anyway, it's messing with Emily's schedule now, and that just does not do good things for me. So here we are. All right, so now I am just going to adhere this to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. And here I am just going to use my liquid glue. A lot of times I would use Seal, but I seem to have run the tape runner out. So, all right, going to set this down here. Okay, and now I'm going to bring back in this piece. And what I'm doing with this is creating a belly band that will hold our designer series paper closed. So as you create these belly bands, you want to have them secure enough that they will sit properly on the card without sliding off, but also not be impossibly tight that you can't ever take it on and off. So I think that feels pretty good. I'm just gonna try not to squeeze it too much. So, okay. You ladies are quiet tonight. Hope everything's going okay for both of you this evening. I'm very glad you're here. The other thing that's been crazy this week is that we've had rain for like 2 days, which, you know, very unusual for Utah, but I think my neighbor told me that they were reporting 6 inches. My rain gauge measured 3.4, but I also had rain blowing sideways for a reasonable amount of time, so I'm guessing that mine wasn't as much as we actually had. I'm glad you like this paper. It's just so fun. And honestly, there's a bundle in the annual catalog that it's called the Hand Penned Bundle. And it's pretty, but I just was not really ever interested in getting it. And I've had so much fun playing with the paper that it's maybe making me rethink things. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to bring in Coastal Cabana, and this is the Scalloped Contours. I think it's the second largest rectangle in that set of dies. And then this one is the, oh my goodness, let me see. Okay, it's the second from the smallest. So second in, second out, or however you want to look at that. Oh, hey, Aunt Pat, thank you for sharing. So this will go on the inside of our card, and I am just going to go ahead. I don't need to put anything on here. I just wanted to have a little bitty space where you could write a quick message to whoever is their lucky recipient. So I think that should hold it there. And we'll center that up and make sure it's straight. There we go. Okay. All right, so back to our belly band, and hopefully you can see how that is the pocket. And you'll notice I did not put glue on that corner just because that would kind of annoy me if I had glued that part closed. So, all right, get this back in place now. And the reason that I put this seam in the front is that we are going to cover it up anyway, so figured might as well make sure that the back side is pretty too. So I have just a couple of options for ribbon here, and you can see in my sample I did a different color scheme. So I used the Fresh Freesia and Blackberry Bliss, and then I used the Fresh Freesia Open Weave something something ribbon, which is really nice. So, oh, I just did, Janie, this is Terran tape, which is, it's super strong. It's great for 3D kinds of projects, or if you just want to make sure that nothing's ever going anywhere. This is great. You just tear it off of the roll, and then it's got this wax backing. So, doing zombies through the kitchen sounds like how our evenings go. So, back to it. So here is Bermuda Bay and then Coastal Cabana, but I don't have this open weave ribbon in either of those colors. And so I brought in this ribbon as an option. So that kind of would look like that. Or I brought in This is the white glittered organdy ribbon. And it's very pretty, and the sparkle is really fun, but it's subtle. So I'm kind of digging this. It's actually a Pool Party striped grow grain ribbon. So I think I'm going to go with that one just because it does add a little more contrast between the designer series paper and the ribbon. So let me just get this organdy put back away. And I've been using a ton of the organdy on some projects I've been doing. So my upline Erica Serwin, oh, I'm glad you're with me on this choice. She and a couple of the other really big demonstrators in the country work together 3 or 4 times a year, I can't remember, to do what they call creative conventions. And so I typically always sign up and get the kits and make, it comes with 16 projects, and there's also business trainings and those kinds of things. But the really fun stuff is just getting someone else's creativity to play with for a little bit. It's amazing how inspirational it can be. And so, oh, I'm glad you like it too. So that's what I did this past weekend, and I actually managed to make the entire kit up, which is stellar. That's courtesy of my sweet husband for giving me some time. Okay, I don't think that bow is quite big enough. And so this was a mystery stamping project designed by Rhonda Wade that I just thought was so perfect and really wanted to share with you, especially because it can be tough to figure out what to do with the larger pieces of designer series paper, and sometimes you don't want to just hack them all into little bitty pieces. So I thought this one was fun. Okay, I think I like that bow now, so gotta find some snips here. And oh, I hear a very sad baby upstairs. Like I said, nap times have been a challenge, and so I think the exhaustion of everybody's week is just really getting to everybody. So hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. Okay, so there is my bow, and then this is going to go right here. And this, I want to make sure that I don't adhere to the bigger piece of designer series paper, so I'm only going to put dimensionals on my belly band, and that way I make sure that I don't mess it up. So just gonna grab a few here, and because it is kind of a narrow spot to try to adhere to, I am going to use a few more dimensionals than I might otherwise. And I am down to the end of this sheet. So I'm trying to think what else. We used a bunch of different bundles in the convention, and one especially I had gotten because I really liked it, but I wasn't planning to do a class with it. It's called Sparkle of the Season, and now I'm thinking I might have to try to figure out how to squeeze in one extra class because it is just so perfect. It's got wreaths and covers fall and Christmas, and so it's just, it was a lot of fun to play with. Okay, so that is this. Now I am going to take this piece of basic white is just 2.5 by 3 3/4. And so we're finally actually going to do some stamping. What a novel idea, right? So I'm going to take, I think I'll do this bigger splatter and a sort of larger block. And I'm going to take my lighter ink, which is my Coastal Cabana. So this is, I believe it's a distinctive stamp set from, it's the Gorgeous Leaves. And so you can sort of, I think maybe you can kind of tell, there's just a lot of different levels of surface, so you get different amounts of ink. And then you end up with kind of a really dimensional look there. So I'm just going to stamp that off there so that I have a little bit lighter look to it. Okay, so we're done with Coastal Cabana, and now I'm going to pull out this larger leaf here. And the dies that go with this stamp set are amazing. Some of them are just a leaf cutout, and some of them are really intricate leaves, so kind of like cutting on the vein lines. And I think it is just going to be a really great class. That is actually my class for whatever next month is, September, I guess. So, all right, now I'm going to take Bermuda Bay ink and ink this up. Sorry, I'm trying not to shake this table. Okay, we'll go just right in the center here. And that looks lovely. It is pretty similar to the full strength Coastal Cabana, so rather than doing second generation stamping with this leaf, I'm going to go ahead and re-ink. And then I'll just come down here and do a couple more leaves. Oh, that ink pad is sticky. And there's really no rhyme or reason. I mean, it's just kind of stamp it till I'm happy. So I'm just going to go a little bit there. Now, one thing that I don't like, and I probably should have done this differently, but when I stamped and then I came and stamped again, since I had stamped off of the sheet, it left a line in the ink. Nobody but me is likely to notice that, but just so that you're aware, you probably would want to re-ink and then stamp off completely on scratch paper. So I'm just going to do there and be done. All right. So get my inks all closed out, and I'm actually going to clean that leaf stamp just because I need the block. My Hope Box Paper Pumpkin Kit came today, and I've been, you know, kind of on the fence because it's the end of summer, and so I wasn't sure how I felt about butterflies and more springy kind of images, but oh, I'm glad you like the leaves too. So they will be out a lot for the next couple of months. So anyway, but I just, you know, I always get them and see what I can come up with that maybe is a little bit different than what they intended. And the stamp set in that kit is amazing. So it's just really, let's see, always hope, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. Just a note of hope, and where there is faith, miracles happen. And then some pretty imagery as well. But I was so much more excited to get that than I was expecting to be, so that was really fun. Now I'm going to take my color and contour stamp set, and this is the stamp set that goes with the Scalloped contour dies. And this little banner, I did just cut out just one part of the messages dies here. So the way this set works is kind of fun. It's one big stamp, and then you cut out all of these different banners and sentiments. But for this, I just wanted the one shape, so I just had a little scrap that I fit in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take, let's see, You're Absolutely Amazing, if I can figure out which one that is. And line this up here. If I get my tongue in just the right spot, I think it'll work. Okay, so now I'm going to take my Memento Black. And on this one, you may have noticed, I did heat emboss with silver powder, but I just didn't really feel like heat embossing on camera because it's noisy. And it takes more time than you guys probably want to sit and watch. So, all right. Let's see, this is going to be a slightly tight fit, but I think we're going to be okay. There we go. Looks pretty good. Okay, so while I let that ink kind of sit for a second, I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my scalloped die cut. And take this, make sure I get it right side up, and this will just kind of nestle right in those stitching lines. Okay, and now I think my ink here is dry, so I'm going to pop this up with a couple of dimensionals. And I am bugged by my ink line. So just so you know, there's never a mistake, there's only opportunity. So we are just going to kind of disguise it like that. Okay, and now the last thing, oh, I'm glad you like it. The last thing is that I'm going to add some rhinestones. So I'm going to grab my take your pick tool here, and my putty seriously just needs to be replaced, but I don't like to let things go until there's absolutely no life left in them. So just gonna do a couple of these, kind of frame that leaf, and then I feel like maybe we need 5 on this card, so go right there. Okay, so that is my card for tonight, and you've got it in purples and in aquas, and I hope that you really enjoyed watching me make this. I think it's a great project for, you know, weddings or graduations or birthdays or anything that you would like to give a gift card for, or cash would fit well as well. Definitely it will fit in just a regular envelope, which is another nice feature of this. So if you enjoyed this, thank you for the hearts and the thumbs up. I appreciate it. I would also appreciate it if you share this video to your page and then comment in this video's thread that you shared it. And that way I can enter you for the drawing for next week. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you soon. Good night.